Hello everyone. So in our previous video, we discussed about initial implementation of hash table. We saw the structure of hash table and we also saw that how it uses hash nodes internally. Now in this video, we'll simply code for the internal structure of hash table, and in upcoming videos we will see the different operations performed by hash table, and then we'll test its working in the main method. So here I have created one class as hash table. Now as we discussed, hash table will consist of few instance variables. One is array of hash node, which we term as buckets, and as it is using the hash node class internally, here we will create a inner class hash node. And as we already discussed that this hash node class will have three members. One would be our key. So this can be generic type. The second member would be value, and this can also be any generic type. So here for the demo purpose I am using the key as integer and value as string. And the third member would be the reference to the next hash node, and it will have a constructor which will take two things: key and a value. We will assign the key to this dot key and value to this dot value. So here the hash table consists of an array of hash node which we called as buckets. It also has an integer variable number of buckets, which is also capacity, and it also has an integer type size, which is nothing but number of key value pairs in hash table, or number of hash nodes in a hash table. So basically in a hash table, the number of hash nodes represents the size of the hash table, and here we will provide a constructor to our hash table class. So when we will create an instance of hash table, it will simply call the parameterized constructor providing a default capacity. So here we will create one more constructor which will take a capacity. So here we can provide a customized capacity by calling this constructor, and if we call this constructor, it will create a hash table with a default capacity of 10. So here what we'll do is, to number of buckets we will assign the capacity, and now number of buckets is holding the capacity. So what we'll do, we will create the array of hash node whose length would be the value stored in the number of buckets. So here when we'll create the instance of hash table, let's say with the capacity we provide, so the number of buckets will hold that capacity, and the array of hash node will be of size which represents the number of buckets. And usually at the start when there are no hash nodes in a hash table, the size will be 0. So this is what happens when we first initialize or create the instance of hash table. Now here you can see that this is the initial implementation of hash table. So in a hash table there are many operations. So one of the operation is that we want to know the size of the hash table, that how many key value pairs are there. So we provide a method as size, and here we simply return the size. One more method we provide is boolean. We check whether the hash table is empty or not. So we provide the method as is empty, and here if size is equal to 0, then we return true, stating that hash table is empty, and if size is not equal to 0, we are returning false. So friends, in our upcoming video, we will look into the primary operations of a hash table, which is put, which basically put a key value pair in a hash table. So the parameters are key and value. So this method basically takes in a key value pair and it simply puts that key value pair in our hash table. So we will discuss about this method in greater detail in our upcoming videos. So this is one of the primary operations. The other operation is get. So this method simply takes in a key and returns the corresponding value associated with it. So for time being, I am simply returning null to compile this method. So here, whatever the key value pairs are stored in hash table, so if we want to get any value associated with a key, we simply pass key here and we get its corresponding value. And one more method is remove, where we pass the key and that key value pair will be removed and the value associated with that key will be returned. So when we call get, the key value pair remains in the hash table. We only get the value out of the hash table. But when we do remove, that key value pair is completely removed from the hash table and its corresponding value is returned. So here these are the three main operations which are being performed by hash table, and all these three methods have a time complexity of O of 1, which is the average time complexity of a hash table. So friends, this was basic and initial implementation of a hash table. In our upcoming videos, we will see all these primary operations in great detail. So friends, in case if you find this information useful, then please like this video. And if you are new to my channel, then please subscribe to my channel so that you never miss any update. Thanks, have a nice day.